Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and today we're going to be making a little fly pendant. I've got this whole little family here of flies. They got their little wings and these crazy little dizzy eyes, and the reason I have so many is this first one was my practice one when I first had the idea. Then the second one I started making for this video, and then I forgot to hit record like halfway through, so I got halfway through the video and then I had to start again, and that's the third fly that you see here. But now I got this whole little collection of them, so if you want to see how to make this kind of silly little fly pendant, just keep watching. And as always, thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider. I make new wire wrapping tutorial videos every weekend. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of new videos. All right, let's get started. So the wire that we're going to be using is 20 gauge round wire. I got this wire from riogrande.com, and we just need one piece of it. This is dead soft copper, and the piece that I cut myself here is 14 inches long. This is probably a little long, but I wanted it to be longer in case your bead is a little bit bigger than mine. So this is my bead here. It's black and it's an agate bead, and the size of it is about 10 millimeters, which is almost half an inch, just a little bit less, but it's okay if yours is a half an inch. It doesn't have to be this exact same size bead. So you want to slide your bead on and bring it down here to the middle, and then you want to fold these wires. Let me zoom in here a little bit. You want to kind of fold them so that they go onto the bead and they kind of crisscross here at the middle. And here in the middle, what you want to do is you just want to get your pliers and you want to make a bend in both of the wires like this, and you want to just keep bending until you can get in there and just press down on it like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of curve this a little bit so it sits nicely up against my bead. So that's one side. The other side, we're just going to do the same thing. So bend it. So make sure that they're both bending in the same direction. So don't have one bending this way to the back. You want them to be the same. So I'm just gonna kind of curve that a little bit, press down on it so it's just right up against that bead there, and work that up. So here's what that would look like. So this is gonna be our front. The front is where the wire is going up, and the back is where you can see the wire coming out of the bead. Okay, so this is the back, and this is the front. So here at the top, if you just kind of hold it like this, you want this to be centered, and you want there to be a little gap. See that little gap right there? That's a good gap. You don't want it to be like a huge gap, but you do need a little gap there because we're gonna have to work some wires through that gap. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking my pliers and I'm bending these wires straight so that I can bring them together. So I want them to go straight up like this, and then I want to bring them together like this so that I can make my bail. So again, this is the front. There's a little gap that we left there, and then this will be the bail. For the bail, I'm going to use some half round wire. If you want to stick with round wire for this project, you can use 28 or 26 gauge round wire, just a thin round wire, and do a little weaving pattern. I have a few different tutorials on weaving patterns. For your bail, basically you just want to hold these two wires together for your bail. Or if you happen to have some half round wire, so even though this is 24 gauge, because it's half round, it's basically like taking a 24 gauge round wire and cutting it in half. So half round wire is thinner than round wire of the same gauge. That's important to remember. You can't just substitute half round wire for round wire of the same gauge because it'll be much thicker. So again, if you want to use round wire, I would use 26 or 28. This is 24 gauge half round wire though, if you do have half round wire. So I have a little tail end of it. My wire is attached to my spool, and I'm just wrapping that little tail end around to get me started. I'm holding this with the front facing me, and when you've got it started, we're going to trim this, and you want the little end of it to end up here in the back. This way it'll be hidden. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to trim that. And then this little end, we're just going to press it down here in the back so it is hidden. And now we're going to continue, because this is not enough for this to be our bail yet. So we're going to continue, but because this is attached to the spool, this wire, I'm going to guide it with my hand, with my finger here, and with the other hand, I'm going to turn the piece. We can no longer just wrap it around like we did with the little end, because it'll get twisted. So I'm just going to do this, just slowly guide it, work my way up until this is tall enough to be my bail. So this is starting to look tall enough for my bail. So this is the front. I am just pressing down on this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it right here, right where the wrap starts. I'm going to bend it towards myself. Oops. And then I'm going to bend this back. You can use something like round nose pliers if you want, or bail making pliers. But basically we're just shaping our bail. And for the bail, so we're going to separate these two wires out a little bit here, just a little bit. So that they can kind of go around the bead and we can connect our bail here. So I'm just pressing down. So I brought the little wrap back to kind of where it started here on the other side. Don't cut this wire though. So we're going to connect our bail now, because right now it's not connected, like it's closed, but it can still pop open. So what I'm going to do with this wire is I'm just going to bring it all the way around. Let me just tighten this up a little bit because it's kind of a big gap there. All right, so I'm just bringing that all the way around until we get to the back again. And then here on the back, I'm just going to lift these up a little bit so I can work this around. So just pick one. I'm just picking this edge wire here, because before we trim the wire, so that it doesn't unravel, we want to wrap it around something. So I'm just going to wrap it around just a few times, just this wire here. All right, so there you can see the few little wraps that I made. Then I'm just going to trim that. And there's that little wire end, so I can kind of tuck it under. So now our bail is connected. You can see that connection there, and here's what it's looking like from the front. So the next step is here on the back. we are going to shape our wings. So bring these to the side like this, and we're going to create the wing by bending this. But then we have to keep in mind that after you create it, you want the end of your wire to end up going through the gap here like this. So it's easier if you just start tucking the end of your wire through the gap, because it's going to be hard to get it in there later on after you've completely shaped the wing. So it's easier to just do that now and then use your pliers to kind of shape the little wing there like that. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm starting out with that initial little curve there for the wing that I'm tucking in the end of my wire here, and then I'm just gently and carefully feeding it through with my pliers as I shape the wing and get it down to a smaller size. So now I'm just trying to get them to match each other. This one is a little bit longer, so I'm just gonna try and make it a little bit smaller here until it matches better. And if you flip it over so that you're here on the front where you have these two wires that are coming through that gap that you pushed through, you can adjust the wings so that they're straight and they're not like tilted or anything. Sometimes they need a little bit of an adjustment as you're looking from the front to see how they are. All right, so now for the eyes, we are gonna use these two wires. So we're gonna just start with one. I'm gonna start with this one here, and I'm just gonna hold it up here, and I'm holding it with my round nose pliers because I want to create a tiny little circle. So I'm just holding it with my round nose pliers, the very tip of my round nose pliers there. And I'm just kind of wrapping it around my round nose pliers, and I'm just trying to create a tiny little loop. Now sometimes it's easier to get in there with your regular pliers and kind of finish up what you started with your round nose pliers. I'm just trying to kind of close that little circle. So here it is here. And then I want to follow that around. So for this part, it's easier not to use any round nose pliers, but to bend it by hand for me personally. And just using my normal pliers helps me. I'm trying to make a circle that is going to go around the other circle like this. So now I'm just going to hold that with my pliers, and I'm going to bring this wire underneath the wing to the back. And I'm just trying to like straighten this up because this is an eye. I'm trying to have the eye. So it's here on the side. And there we go. That looks good to me. So I'm not going to finish off this wire yet. I'm going to do the other eye, so that way if I need to adjust anything, nothing is kind of finished off yet. So now we're just coming here on the other side. We're grabbing with our round nose pliers and we're making a little tiny loop again. So it's kind of, the wire is kind of going this way, like clockwise on this side because it's opposite. And now I'm just using my regular pliers to adjust that and try to get it to match the other side here in the size of it. And then I'm just using my fingers to wrap a larger circle, just kind of adjusting that, bringing that all the way around, and then once it reaches here, just bringing it to the back underneath this little wing. So it should look like this. And you can go in here and adjust things as needed to try and make things match, since we're trying to get it to be nice and symmetrical. So then on the back, we just want to trim these wires that are coming underneath the wings. And we don't want to trim them super short because we want these little wire ends. Here you can see the wire ends good like this. And all you want to do is just grab those and turn them inwards through the wing. See how it kind of makes a little loop, and then you just close up that loop by pinching it together. So now it's connected to the wing, but it's also finished off. And if we just press down on it just a little more here, we've hidden away that little wire end. And then the same thing on the other side here. There you can see the little loop, and just pinch that down, tuck away that little wire end. The wire end is just still a little bit visible, so I'm just going to turn it a little bit inwards here and just press down on it some more. And then now it's hidden away. So now you just want to see if there's any finishing touches you need to do, if anything is like sticking up, press down, adjust. Like if sometimes the eyes kind of move and one is higher than the other, and you might need to adjust it or adjust the wings. So any final little things like that. And then once you are happy with the symmetry of your little fly pendant, then that's it. It is completed, and here is what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.